Whoa, this is July 15th, 1999. We are doing this for channel member Randy, the final one of the month before we head to the Las Vegas Sphere shows. And this one was a good one. And I remember when I first was really diving into the band during the hiatus. My first show 8 days after this was not really what got me to directly dive into the band. It took a little time, really. And then after brewing on that Columbus show, what I was getting to was this was a show that was very popular. I know it was a little bit fresh on people's minds and during the hiatus, but it wasn't, it was a little time had passed. But, people weren't saying best ever, but it was definitely, and there was all kinds of memorable things, not just, the meat stick dance attempt at the Guinness Book of World Records, what looked like a 20-minute coon, really, but really just it was the jam was just kind of its own thing there. The Michael Jordan reference, Trey introducing Mike as Mike Jordan. And then, an early Ghost, so all kinds of things, that kind of put this one into the history books, all the YEM, and a similar set list, last night I reviewed a show from 98, and then this one from 1999, we are, similar set list. Tried to break them up a little bit with the request here. Axilla one. Well, never mind. Let's not dive back into last night. This is a whole new show, and we are about a minute and a half in, and we have not even gotten to the punch you in the eye Ghost 1-2 combo to open the show. Punch you in the eye. You know what I'm gonna say. One of many great openers that they have. Maybe you didn't know. Maybe you're like, I don't know. What are you gonna say, man? It's one of many great openers they have. And then if you're going to take those 20 or 30 great openers, this one would then probably crack the top 10. For the Dan Z's of the world, it's probably number 10. All right, so here then we get into the Ghost. And then the Ghost Jam for 1999 was a little bit of a rocker, kind of pushing the pace a little bit here in this Ghost. And with everything that happened after this, probably going to be getting overlooked by some who love this show, but Mike kind of going after it early, it was Ghost feels like a kind of a Mikey song, and we get the Farmhouse with an extended Type 1 jam, I don't know who was asking for that. Then they follow that up with a horn, so getting a little bit of a lull here. Poor Heart, if people were forgetting that they need to be dancing, Poor Heart certainly reminded them there. Then Axilla, and then with an Axilla 2 there, kind of giving you an Axilla 1.5. So another song, like I was mentioning, horn as well. So a little bit of this set felt like the November of 98 set. 98! Theme from the Bottom. It just felt like every section in this Theme from the Bottom, they paid a little extra attention to it. Overall making for a really strong Theme from the Bottom. I didn't know. Getting a little Henrietta action on the vacuum there. Sloth, like someone's pointed out recently, and I think they may be onto something. There's many good songs, like a Catapult might Walk Away might indicate a great set where the band's really feeling things are going well. Sloth might be another one, and this is all the way into 1999. Don't get a ton of sloths. Doesn't mean there's not a ton of great sets. Didn't mean to imply that, but then talking about this one was probably a great. There's been a lot of great YEMs, but then this one, it just seemed like as the first part leading up to the Tramps jam, everything was fine. They get off the Tramps. Mike kind of having like a little bit of a Weekapaw groove feel to it there. And then not to be outdone, Trey wants to come in. It's like, it's my part. But then each guy just wanted to like outdo the next. So then Fishman kind of is like, nah, I'm the star of this one. And then Paige is over there hammer fisting away. And then we got Mike still just like, hey, don't forget about me. Kind of going with more of like a Weekapaw groove feel there, which just leads to a complete explosion, obviously, in the You Enjoy Myself. Not a bad way to end a set after all of this. And then we get over here to the meat stick. Like I mentioned, they try to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. Trey has a friend, someone close to the band. I don't know who he mentioned the person's name. A little trouble here, this one, A 99 audience recording. Very boomy sounding, At times, those sounded good. You got to get into the flow of it. Early on over here, I was thinking, oh man, that's right. For such a great show. There wasn't a ton of shows at this level of quality, C plus maybe, that I put on the CD. This being one of them back then. I don't know why I'm talking so much about the hiatus, giving you that's Apple 20 hiatus history lesson here. All right, so then we get another. The Meat Stick Jam was, it wasn't like Farmhouse, what do we need this for? But, the Meat Stick Jam felt more like a I don't know. It was okay. It was just a little bit. It was a lot of meat stick, all right? The jam wasn't bad or anything. So then let's get to this one right here. Now, if they had just stopped and really just played a normal set after this melt, it probably would have been a pretty good show. The melt, somewhat by these crazy chaotic standards, a somewhat tame melt, really, believe it or not. Hard to say that, actually. Then they get into the coon and then the jam. Quick trip into coon. Not a quick trip into the jam though in coon. Felt like maybe like some stuff a lot of stuff we got in '99. Maybe even some big Cypress, if I may say. I know nothing compares to Big Cypress, but some of this jam was, All right, so then Chalk Dust Torture, they're just going to rip the set, ending it that way after the bounce and had to calm down a little bit. Not that this jam was a big ripper. They didn't really need to calm down. They just needed to prep things so then they could just really go all out for the Chalk Dust Torture. Brian and Robert, Frankenstein encore. All right. Last night's show with the Rogue encore was very strong. Brian and Robert, Frankenstein, not a ton of covers. Who wrote Coon? All right, guys. That's the recap. That just kind of came to an abrupt halt, huh? I don't know what happened there. Well, Randy, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning. Boom, boom. Thanks to Randy. Yeah, I missed this show. I hadn't listened to this show in a long time. The YEM, the Ghost, the Melt. I guess the meat. The meat stick of the farmhouse. Save yourself. All right, guys. Boom, we're out of here. Vegas, it's coming. I'll probably have to get some picks in. They'll all be wrong, but I'll try.